Now, to break this down further, we're joined by Betul Dogan Akkas. She's an assistant professor of Middle East Studies at Ankara University. Welcome to the program, Betul. Now, Turkey and Saudi Arabia have a shared vision to reach $30 billion in bilateral trade. Which specific sectors are best positioned to lead this rapid expansion?
Thank you for having me on this show today. I think the priority of economic cooperation and other corporations are focusing more on the long-term investment in the energy sector and defense cooperation, but it is not limited to that. But especially what we understand from this visit and the outcome of this visit, especially looking at the interview published by Sharq al-Awsat, President Erdogan commented that the bilateral relationship needs to go beyond economic cooperation, but economic cooperation needs to be developed also. So it's a two-sided issue. Although we need more cooperation economically, we also need to go beyond economic cooperation, including more, from his words, a sort of consultation mechanism between two countries in many ways. So let me go through the outcomes, tangible outcomes. First of all, as the video before me mentioned, a huge investment on energy sector to Turkish cities were primary outcomes of the visit, and we again had a declaration between the parties, a joint declaration that the defense cooperation, which is already ongoing with big Turkish defense firms, needs to be manifested in a better way, and they had to cooperate more in terms of their technology sharing and joint manufacturing. So these are the central economic outcomes of the visit. But as I mentioned, the priority was not only this economic cooperation, but to go beyond it.
Right, and we're seeing mutual investments top $2 billion. How have these talks helped further accelerate cross-border opportunities for business on both sides?
I am still in Riyadh, by the way. I came as part of the academic cooperation communication between Saudi and Turkish scholars. Business is a central issue, and it has to be dealt with materializing already signed agreements. So I think this is something policymakers are also recognized, because we don't have any problems with Saudi diplomacy or Saudi policymaking when it comes to our bilateral relationship, but the tensions happened in the previous years over the regional issues. And now the de-escalation process and entire diplomatic relationship between two countries are to solve these issues and go through them as much as possible. So this is why business is a way to engage people to people or business to business. So it will bring more long-term cooperation, more institutional cooperation if it is materialized comprehensively. This is why there's a big focus on it. And since, let's say, the agreement signed with the energy ministry, it is going to take a long time. So the parties will stay in communication, they will cooperate, they will share their knowledge, they will share their know-how in the field, and this will have, we will see more institutionalized and long-term relationship. But other than this, these are the angles that we will see more influential in terms of institutionalizing and building a stronger relationship between Riyadh and Ankara. But in addition to that, we will see, I guess, more regional cooperation after all this is happening in the region, because Saudi Arabia is working closely with states in the Middle East, with the ongoing process in Sudan, in Libya, in Egypt, always Palestine. But there has been some sort of differences in their policy making depending on their priorities. But now in 2026, these priorities are quite overlapping with Turkey, especially in Syria, in Palestine, and Sudan, and what we've seen in the recent declaration between two countries in Somaliland. So priority is to have a status quo and stability-led regional politics, which means two big powers of the region somehow has to figure out a cooperation to support central power mechanisms rather than non-state actors or small emerging powers in these countries. This is why I think this is a momentum. The real momentum of the escalation after the Arab Spring between Saudi Arabia and Turkey, because we had the declaration of a state in Somaliland, we had issues in Yemen, Sudan, Libya, Gaza. This is all together encourage them to revisit their policy making. I think this could bring more tangible diplomatic cooperation between the parties.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Betul Dogan Akkas in Riyadh, thank you very much for joining us.